Hey guys.
Well, hi.
Hi. Welcome.
Welcome.
To our next episode. To my house. To all the things. Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, a pleasure. The cats would say otherwise, but
Well,
I
no.
think it's a pleasure.
It just made me think of something. Sorry.
Yeah.
I just need to ask you guys, do you remember the SNL sketch where he was like, hello, my name is Simon.
Yes.
And I like to
Draw
do
drawings.
drawings. Yes. It has been in my head all week. So when everyone
Why?
says hello, I don't know. In my head, I keep going, oh, my name is Simon.
Well, I
And
texted
it
you
just
guys.
happened.
I texted you guys this week that for some reason the facts of life came roaring into my head. And I had to tell you guys immediately. And you said that was your everyday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay, well, that's good. Before we start, could we get an on the street correspondent report from Heath, who just took a vacation since the last time we saw him, and you were in Palm Springs, California.
We were.
Can you brief us on maybe your favorite thing and your least favorite thing from that trip?
I can tell you when we were there, my least favorite thing, when we were there, the Palm Springs International Film Festival was going on.
Oh, shoot.
So, the night before, and this isn't my least favorite thing. I mean, it's part of it. But the night before we got there, they had the big award show. So, Ariana Grande was in town, and Cynthia Erivo, and Jamie Lee Curtis, and Nicole Kidman. All these folks were there. And, I was a little disappointed that I didn't see any of them in the airport or anything like that. We didn't cross paths. But we had tried to get into some screenings for several movies that they had. And, of course, all the good ones were sold out. So we had to go see a cheese documentary.
What? This is amazing.
And so, we're on vacation. It's a lovely day out. It's 75 degrees, sunny, beautiful. And my husband drags me to a cheese documentary.
I love it for some reason. I'm all the way in.
I was sitting their cats, and I sent a proof of life, here she is. And you wrote back, we're sitting and waiting for a cheese documentary to start. I'm like, what the? I think I'm living a better life than you are
what are you
at this
doing in
moment.
Palm
Yeah.
Springs?
Yeah, and then there's an audience choice award as part of the film festival, so they give you a little ballot that you can fill out, and you can vote on the way out. And I did not vote. And I know that's un-American, but when I walked out, one of the ushers or whatever, had the box where you put your votes in, was trying, gestured at me with it 2 or 3 times, where's your ballot? You're missing your chance to vote. And it's I'm not voting for this goddamn cheese movie, sir.
How was the cheese documentary?
It wasn't good.
Okay.
It wasn't good.
Wow.
And as a lover of cheese, I mean, you could have been swayed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 different segments of a person talking about their relationship with cheese and why they love it and stuff like that. And it was just come on, man.
We don't need to I get that every fucking time I go out in the world and I see I don't eat cheese. We don't need to make a documentary about that. I always get some sob story about cheese. I couldn't live without cheese. I'm like, great. I don't care.
It doesn't affect me at all.
I should put a camera on that and then I get into the Palm Springs
I was wondering if
documentaries.
before you went in, they made you check a form that said you are indeed not vegan. They're like, we don't want any vegans in this cheese documentary. We won't get the votes.
It's going to skew the results.
Yeah. Are you vegan? Have you ever been vegan?
So that was your least favorite, or one of your least favorites.
Yeah. I don't know. We did lots of fun stuff when we were there. I think probably we went on a pretty good hike.
Nice.
Did
you listen to Colors of the Wind?
Not on the hike. We did not.
Come on.
Because when we got to the top, there were other people up there. They were from a different country. I couldn't really place the accent, but they were kind of having an argument. I feel like she thought he was being critical of her in some way. And so it was kind of, I didn't want to bring Vanessa Williams into that.
I kind of love that. Yeah.
She didn't need to hear that.
She didn't need Colors of the Wind at that moment. Had they not been there, would you have turned it on?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, good. Okay.
For sure.
Good.
Well, nice. It sounds like a very relaxing, lovely time.
It was a lovely week. It was we were just a couple hours away from the pretty terrible stuff happening in Los Angeles. So that was sort of you feel like an asshole enough just sitting around not doing anything all week. And then, when all that terrible stuff's happening nearby you, it's kind of a weird.
Well, Aaron and I were texting, do we check in? Do we think they're going to have to cancel their trip? What are they going to have to do? And then I asked you about it, and you said, "Yeah, I feel like a dick, but it's been real nice here." And 90 minutes away. It's a hellscape, but yeah.
Did you say there seemed to be like an influx of people though? Like there was more people?
There were, at least Michael talked to somebody, and the place we stayed has like a communal hot tub, which sounds, it's cleaner than it sounds.
Okay.
He was
Are we sure? I can't listen to anything else after communal hot tub.
Okay. The cleaner than it sounds communal hot tub. Sorry.
that's what the sign says anyway.
Okay, well.
It's cleaner than it sounds.
Yeah.
But he was talking to a woman who, she owned a unit in the complex we were staying, and she's from Los Angeles. So she said her home was not in danger, but she kind of got out of town for a few days just because, like, the air quality was obviously pretty bad. So there were some people there that in Palm Springs that were kind of taking a respite from Los Angeles.
I mean, fair. I feel like it would just be a hellscape no matter where in LA you were at, just knowing it was happening. And
Yeah, terrifying.
I mean, we could say fire is unmitigated gall. That feels not right, but it's,
It is. I mean, that's some bullshit.
Yeah. I was trying for a transition. It didn't go great, but that's where I was.
We
at.
all know
That's
the
what-
unmitigated gall that surrounds this particular situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we're glad you're back. I don't know if you're glad to be back, but
TBD.
Okay.
Like, is that on us? That feels like pressure. Like,
Yes.
Also, I will
We'll
say
see how the next hour goes.
yeah, that's what,
Also, I will say that your cat, Eleanor Roosevelt, when I went to check on her the very first time, she came out and she's like, "Oh, hey," and then obviously in cat talk, not in that talk. That would have been real cool if it was in
yeah,
human
I would
talk.
love that. I'd be pissed if you just revealed that on a podcast and didn't tell us ahead of time.
Yeah.
But when she was done with me for that day, she just sort of turned around and went to her back room as if to say, like, "You can see yourself out, right?"
Yeah.
And I was like, I have definitely got Heath and Michael's cat. Then by the end of the week, each time I would come, she would be like, "Meow! Like, where have you been?"
Yep.
She's a very sassy girl, and I liked it.
I like that. Yeah.
She's
As
got
it
a
should
lot
be.
to say.
Got a lot to say. Very sweet. Oh. Yeah. So, unmitigated gall. I could start.
Okay.
If that works.
Yeah, please do.
Because I have sort of a themed gall this week, which is
I love a themed gall.
which is, of course.
Oh.
Of course that happened. Of course, Mark Zuckerberg is revealing himself to be a manosphere asshole.
Fuck you, Mark Zuckerberg.
Talking about masculinity and femininity and and he's
While
going to
he's
show
getting rid of fact checkers.
Yes. And he's wearing some new look. Like he's got a shaggy look going on. Like, what the fuck is that, Mark Zuckerberg? Of course. Of course. That all makes sense. And of course, you're going to be sitting with all the billionaires at the inauguration. Because, yeah, that all makes sense. Also, of course, Neil Gaiman turned out to be a uber creep.
Oh, I didn't hear anything about this.
Shit, seriously?
Are you serious?
There's a whole, like, New Yorker article about how he was into some deep, dark sex stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like non-consensual deep dark
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Oh,
Dark stuff, yeah. So, yeah, turned out to be a total creep, which, of course, one of the guys that we love as an author made so many cool things. It feels like it's along the lines of Justin Baldoni, male feminist,
Fuck you, dude.
turning out to be just an absolute shitbag creep. Yeah. So, of course.
Of course.
Of course it turned out to be a creep.
Of course.
And, of course, everyone in the upcoming cabinet is just a deranged clown. Like, every single word coming out of their mouths is just, of course.
So I shouldn't show you the American flag lining of my sweatshirt right now? Is that too much? Because I redid all my clothes.
Oh, did you? Good.
American
Good,
flag
good, good,
inside, belt buckles,
Yeah,
pocket
yeah,
square.
yeah.
You know who I'm talking about.
Oh, wow. Then the other tiny little gall is not, of course, it's just, I jammed my finger real bad.
Of course.
And, of course. And somehow it just really hurts, but it's also my middle finger, so I can't give a fuck you to all the, of course, guys very easily.
man.
So it just all builds on itself. Of course.
Bullshit. Of course. Wow,
That's fine.
I'm shocked by the Neil thing. I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah, it started building a few months ago. There was like rumors that it was, and then there was a big article that came out.
Okay, well, I'm going to check that out. I shouldn't say shocked. That made it sound like I didn't think he was capable of that. And at this point, I believe anyone is, so.
Yeah, but it gets to the point where it's like the tiny circle of actors that I really love. Like if Pedro Pascal turns out to be a creep, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do.
You and the rest of us.
Right?
Yeah, honestly. That guy's a national treasure.
Can't do it. What about you, Erin?
Well, mine feels a little less important, but...
I mean, I don't know, but these were important. These were just,
well,
you know.
like...
Yeah.
Okay. My unmitigated gall is with the 98 Degrees fan club.
What? Wait. The boy band 98
The boy
degrees?
band 98 Degrees.
Okay.
Which was at its peak popularity when I was in high school. And I won't lie to you, I did have a 98 Degrees poster. And I'm pretty sure that that era, 90s Aaron, would have definitely signed up for the fan club. In fact, I know I did. Where you just got, that was like the beginning of like getting newsletters and stuff like that sent to your inbox.
That's what I thought this was. Is like you were mad they raised the prices or something of the 98 Degrees fan club
No,
dues.
but I am mad at them because I feel like at no time did I ever unsubscribe. No time did I ever unsubscribe from the 98 Degrees fan club. But what I found out this week is that Drew Lachey, brother of Nick Lachey, has his own home renovation show called Date My House. Yeah, it's bad.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched a whole episode. But I'm still mad with them because I feel like that was newsletter worthy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Should have been mentioned. I mean, I assume the 98 Degrees newsletter is like needs content, like, right?
I would
Definitely.
assume. Also, let me just say that the episode I watched, he was helping Justin Jeffrey, who was another 98 Degrees member, with his house. So it was a double impact situation.
So can we trace back to the last newsletter you received from 98
Sure.
Degrees? Okay.
I don't know because it's an email
All right.
I don't. I mean, to be fair, it's probably an email I don't check. Maybe they did send one, but I feel like there's no process. There's more channels to use at this point.
Absolutely.
98 Degrees fan club. I needed to know about this Nick Lachey show immediately because the
Drew Lachey.
Drew Lachey, sorry, because what did I say?
Nick Lachey.
Nick Lachey, yeah, no. I need to go down that rabbit hole because I'm not actually that interested in Nick Lachey shows. Don't care. He's been trying to do a million of them. But Drew coming out of the shadows looking like every middle-aged guy you've ever seen.
Wow.
It took me a minute to decide that it was Drew Lachey.
Okay.
I was watching and I was like, that's not Drew Lachey, is it?
So did we just find out that you are a massive 98 Degrees fan?
I was, yeah.
Was or are? Because you seemed real upset that you didn't know about a development in the 98
I think it's
Degrees
like one
world.
of those things where you have this, like, you look back and you have this fondness of it. Do
Okay.
I like their music now? No.
Okay.
But do I want to watch them as washed up middle-aged guys? Because Justin Jeffrey's house is not nice.
Oh,
it was
no.
not nice. Yeah. Also, when I say home renovation show, the types of renos he's doing is like, I can put this knob back on the top of your banister.
Oh, dear God. Okay.
I can cover up this weird furnace hole. Like, it's not. It's not like
He's not putting in new backsplashes or anything like that.
no, like when we
Why is
say
it called-
reno or room, it's like I put up paint and new shelves and it's brand new. And the whole premise of the show is that you're supposed to be falling in love with your house so you don't feel the need to sell it. It's like Date My House.
Ew.
Yeah. But I don't know, fixing those things, number one, just seems like something a realtor is going to ask you to do if you want to sell
Right.
it.
Yeah,
And number
yeah,
two, there's nothing, like, it's not adding any real value or anything.
Huh.
Like, one of the things he fixed in his buddy's house was, like, re-putting in his window air conditioner because it fell out. And I was like,
Okay.
we thought this was good content. Huh?
Was it the same air conditioner that fell out, or did they get a new one? 'Cause
No,
it
yeah,
seemed
no, it
like-
was the same one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It didn't get
and
damaged.
Justin was like, it's here on the floor, and I can't get it in the window. It's too heavy or something. It doesn't level right. It keeps tilting down.
This feels like such a sad
Deeply.
show.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's probably the appropriate response. I just giggled with delight the whole time, even though deep down I knew that it was sad. It is sad, actually, when you say it, but man, I was like, what? They made a whole show based on just regular Sunday to-do items. Like,
But you needed to know. You needed to know the hot goss about 98 Degrees.
I also realized I just lied to you because I watched 2 episodes. Because the second episode was another family. I just realized because they were going to redo the son's room because he was getting older. He was like 2.
Oh.
And they didn't want the nursery anymore. So they put up car, like, sticker decals in the most random assortment I've ever seen. Like, no one thought that through before they stuck them on the walls. And I was like, done.
Wow.
Reno.
Man, this shows that I could start a reno. If
You
this
could.
is the standards,
you come in,
I could
Can
do
you
it.
put stickers on the wall?
I put these on the wall. They're
Yeah.
not super straight, but I mean,
I think they look great.
They're on the wall.
they're
This
on the
is
wall.
more of a pattern than they went with. So, congratulations, I say. You could be on Date My House.
I feel like we're gonna need to return to this
fair.
again and again. Because this feels like a stone that we've unturned or upturned or turned over. I don't know. There's a whole hole underneath that we just really need to explore of 98 Degrees fandom on your part.
Do you want to know what the poster was?
Yes.
They were in firefighter outfits, but they didn't have the coats on. They just had wife beaters and the suspenders over them. It was hot because it was 98 degrees, which is actually normal temperature for your body.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I
it
think
is,
they
yeah.
mean outside temperature.
Right. Did you have a favorite?
It might, I mean, really, it might have been Drew.
So Drew was in the. This is
Yes.
my lack of knowledge. Drew and Nick were in the band.
Yeah.
Oh.
And Justin tells a little story during his episode about how they had formed it. They needed one more guy. And that's when Nick said, oh, what about my brother? Like, he can sing that part.
Oh, okay.
And then he's like, Drew really didn't want to do it. And, like, you're like, yeah, that's what Drew's giving now is, like, he wishes he was never in a boy band. Like, that is absolutely on par. Yeah, so
Okay. Again, we're gonna return to that.
that's fair.
Okay, Heath. What about your gall?
My gall's not as interesting as 98 Degrees or any
Gross dudes?
Any gross dudes.
Okay.
I just we live in Iowa. It's January. It's cold out.
Yeah.
And everyone keeps complaining about it. I'm just like, this isn't a surprise, everybody.
This is not a surprise. This is where we live. This is for where most of us have lived for most of our life. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. It's like 2 below right now, and that's not ideal. But
It's not ideal. No.
but we're gonna get through it. And this, we didn't get a foot of snow or anything.
Also, yeah, it's gonna get warmer in like 2 days. So chill, everybody.
Also, it's
cool.
not like I mean, we really haven't had much of a winter. Honestly,
this
this
is pretty
winter for
normal.
Iowa,
Yeah.
it kind of feels like I mean, we're due a couple cold days. It's the truth.
Do
Here
you,
we are.
when it gets this cold, do you run at the Y, or what's your cutoff for temperature?
I think about 15 degrees
Okay.
is my cutoff. If
Yeah.
it's a little warmer than that, I'll bundle up and run outside. But
Okay.
Really?
2 below is too much for me.
When I used to run, I would try and figure out my limit, because then if you bundle up too much, then you get sweaty, and then it's a whole other thing. And I think my limit was maybe a little warmer than that.
As a non-runner, I'm going to ask both of you runners.
Oh, I'm not a runner anymore, but yeah.
You put some miles on those knees.
I
we know
I
it.
did,
Yeah.
yes. I broke
In
some
running,
stuff.
that sounded
Yeah.
real. Can we cut that? That sounded really bad. Don't include that. Wow.
I did get some mileage on those knees, but
bad.
whatever.
I was just thinking of the
Thanks
pound.
for bringing
Oh,
it
man,
up.
That's not better. I was going to say, I was thinking of the pounding. Like, that's not better. Okay, anyway. Is it easier to run in hot or cold?
Cold.
Cold, really?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because hot is just, I don't know about you, but it always felt like I was just
Like it's
depleted,
heavier.
even
Right,
just
yeah.
stepping outside.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, for me anyway, when it's hot, like I'm a warm person anyway, and when it's already hot out, and then you're running and you get hotter, like that's when you get into sort of unhealthy territory. It's not really, it
Yeah.
could be dangerous.
Yeah.
You could like conk out.
Whereas I know when I would run in the cold, it'd be uncomfortable for a few minutes, but then you get going and you're like, okay, this is,
Yeah.
Okay.
you know.
Was there an
body's taking
ideal
a-
temp? Like, what's your ideal running outside temp?
Oh, I don't know, 55 degrees probably.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. 50s is great.
Lower than I
yeah.
thought. Okay. Wow.
Which is why a lot of marathons are in the fall or in like the spring.
Makes sense.
So it's not super hot. But you've had to
Impressive.
run in some hot.
I
weather.
ran a half marathon once, and it was around 80 degrees when it started at 7 a.m., which was unseasonably
That's-
warm for when it was. It was in late May.
Yeah.
And
Oh, no.
I remember, like, as the miles went on and you're getting closer to the end, like, people were just sort of, like, collapsing. Like,
Oh, no.
There was a person who was, I don't know, we were maybe 200 feet from the finish line, and she had just collapsed in the street.
Eesh.
And people were trying to help her and stuff. And, and it's weird. I've talked a little bit about, like, other runners that are trying to be encouraging. Like, people are
Yeah.
yelling, come on, we're almost there. And it's like, I'm not sure she's going to make it. So maybe
Nope.
stop yelling at
Yeah,
her. Like,
let's
maybe
not.
finishing the race isn't the most important thing right now. It's
This is not motivation
staying
time.
alive.
This is,
Yeah.
let's see if
Staying
she's
alive,
still
yeah.
breathing. Yeah,
Keepers,
exactly.
creepers. Okay. Good info.
Yeah. Well, before we get into our examination of 1980. Yes, which is what we're doing today.
Well, 1980
God.
gets in the stirrups.
Yeah.
We
Well,
will.
1980 clunches and tries not to.
It clenches while someone yells, unclench!
Yeah, relax yourself.
Relax, just a little pinch.
You're going to feel some pressure. Yep, sure will. Anyway.
Women's Corner, brought to you by Fuzzy Memories.
The joy of being a woman. A recap from 1980 last time. I brought up the Dingo Ate My Baby story.
Yeah, you did.
I talked about the Georgia Guidestones, which is a truly mind-boggling, weird-ass thing. Mm-hmm. And I talked about the Blue Lagoon and a weird-ass movie that was.
Mm-hmm.
You really hit it out of the park with weird.
Aaron brought up the restaurant that we'll never be able to forget, which is Rax. And some of the worst marketing slogans I've ever heard in my life. You can eat here.
Just informational, really.
Then you also brought up spontaneous combustion,
Yeah.
as well as Capri Suns. So really running the gamut there.
Really a
Just-
gamut of things. Yeah, that's fair.
Heath, you brought us cruising,
Thanks,
God.
Al Pacino.
as well as 9 to 5, and Barbara Mandrell and the Mandrell sisters. So I don't know. Can we top that? I think so.
I think so.
I mean, challenge accepted.
I can start us off with my first thought was talking about the strange and somewhat atrocious movie Xanadu. But then I was like, wait, there's so many more bad movies from 1980 that we may want to talk about. So I found a list of the worst movies from 1980, some of which I've seen, some of which I haven't. And I just want to read some synopses of a few of these. First, though, Xanadu.
Which I will go into in great detail in about 10 minutes.
Yay! That was another reason I didn't choose it, because I was like...
I could tell by his intake of breath. I was like, that's on Heath's list.
Yep. So we're going to skip Xanadu for now, but know that that's coming.
I'm excited because I know nothing about that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Neither do the people making it.
It made no sense. Okay. All right, so some real bad movies from the internet, or the internet says they're real bad movies. One is Can't Stop the Music.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see this one? I didn't see this.
I have not seen it, but I've heard of it.
Okay, a DJ and composer from New York seeks to form an innovative musical group with the help of a former model and a lawyer. Are the model and the lawyer the same person? I don't know. They recruit 6 singers from the Greenwich Village for a disco adventure full of fantasy and fun. And the stars, I have no idea who they are. Ray Simpson, David Hodo, Philippi
That's the
Rose.
Village People.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So that's the Village People movie.
Yep.
Which, by the way, Village People, now in 2025, you're going to be at the inauguration. Come on.
What the fuck?
Come on.
Also, Carrie Underwood, what are you doing?
Oh, yeah. Shocker.
I didn't know she was a Trump person.
Well, I'm thinking country should probably,
Yeah.
because I read an article about it actually, and she's deeply fallen off in, like, she hasn't had any new music, anything.
Right.
So they're thinking she's trying to, like,
Yeah.
appeal to the base that is,
Right.
yeah.
I think she has not had a hit in a while, and she thinks, hey, these idiots will
Will
believe
embrace me
anything.
and my Carrie Underwood legs.
All right, here's another really bad one called The Boogeyman. Through the reflection in the mirror, a girl witnesses her mother's boyfriend's murder.
Shit.
Wait, how do mirrors work?
The people making it didn't know. They didn't know.
Boogeyman.
Then
Through
there's
the reflection means it's happening, right? It's happening behind her?
Yeah.
Just turn around.
So she,
we might have had a theme of reflective surfaces because there's another movie called Windows.
Oh. The operating system?
Yep. Starring Talia Shire as a weird woman admires and spies on her shy, mousy neighbor with a telescope.
Oh, she's a perv.
She's a perv.
no, she's a weird woman.
I love that that was the official description.
What should we call her? Just weird.
Yeah.
Let's call it weird.
Also, this one sounds good. Saturn 3. I don't know if there was a Saturn 1 or Saturn 2,
Right, yeah.
but Saturn 3. Starring Farrah Fawcett, Kirk Douglas, and Harvey Keitel.
Oh.
Two lovers stationed at a remote base in the asteroid belt of Saturn are intruded upon by bad choice of words. Intruded upon by an anal retentive technocrat from Earth and his charge, a malevolent 8-foot-tall robot.
Oh,
It
that-
feels like the mention of anal was intentional. There's something going on with butts there. I don't know.
It also feels like somebody was like, so Star Wars was a hit.
Right.
Like, how can we?
What if we did like the Romeo and Juliet space version of Star Wars? Like they're star-crossed lovers, and then they've got two friends that play foils.
Cruising is listed on here as one of
yeah.
the worst. There's a movie called The Nude Bomb.
Oh boy.
Maxwell Smart is recalled to duty to help fight a villain who threatens to detonate a weapon that destroys clothing.
This is like the character from Get Smart.
Yeah.
It stars Don Adams. Was he the Get Smart character?
Yeah, I think he was.
He
Yeah.
was, yeah.
So that's
I didn't know they made
where
a Get Smart movie.
they made a Get Smart movie
I didn't either.
with a weapon that destroys clothing.
Oh,
So that's good.
I thought that was my husband.
Another one is the Puma Man. Thousands of years ago, aliens visited Earth and fathered the Puma Man, a man god with supernatural powers entrusted by a gold mask with the ability to control people's minds, which, in present-day London, falls into the wrong hands.
Uh-oh.
So it's not really a man as much as it is a mask.
Apparently.
Okay.
And somehow there's a puma involved? I don't know.
Puma mask?
Maybe. Another really good one is The Happy Hooker Goes Hollywood.
Why did we start with that?
A prostitute writes a bestseller book about her profession, which attracts the attention of a studio executive who attempts to adapt it into a movie. They have a falling off, and she decides to make the film on her own, despite sabotage.
Oh, no.
A falling off.
Falling off. Yeah, not a falling
Out.
Yeah.
Falling off. Okay.
Eaten alive.
Is that the sequel to Staying Alive?
A young woman teams up with a mercenary to find her missing sister in the jungles of New Guinea, where they find that a deranged leader of a religious cult has located his commune in an area inhabited by cannibals.
Oh,
So it's got cults.
cannibals.
What more could you want?
New Guinea.
And then one final one stars Shirley MacLaine, Anthony Hopkins, Bo Derek, called A Change of Seasons. Middle-aged, self-centered university lecturer Adam Evans falls for, you guessed it, sexy young student Lindsay Rutledge.
You guessed it.
Things grow complicated when Adam's wife Karen finds out and retaliates by starting a hot affair with carpenter Pete LaChapelle.
Okay.
Things get complicated
Yep.
when he gets busted for cheating.
Yep,
That's
that's
one
what
way to put it, I
happens.
guess.
Well, if I can say, I mean, I'm interested in Happy Hooker Goes Hollywood.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
if it's on, I think I'd watch it.
All right, what about you, Aaron?
Well, I think I'm going to start us off with a game that I have fond memories of,
Oh.
and that is Pac-Man.
Oh.
I, myself, when I think of Pac-Man, I go right to Godfather's Pizza that had a sit-down, like, Pac-Man machine.
Oh,
I
yeah.
go to Pizza Hut. Same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They,
Mhm.
it
The
seemed to be
sit-down thing.
popular
Yep.
at that time. Yeah. So this was originally developed in 1979 in Japan, and the original title was Puck-Man, which is very on the nose. But it came to the United States in 1980 through a licensing deal with a company here that said, like, we'll bring it and put it out. The game's creator's mission was that he wanted to appeal to men and women, because most of the video games at the time were war and sport themed.
Oh, okay.
So he thought if I could get the ladies, it'd be with
Gotta get those ladies and their hot
piece
dollars.
of cheese eating dots, and I'll throw a Mrs. in
Ladies
there.
love cheese.
Yeah, as we know, there's a whole documentary
There's a
about
whole
cheese.
documentary.
Yeah, the original shape was originally supposed to be a pizza with a slice missing, but then they kind of rounded it out a little more to make it more look like a mouth instead of just a piece of pizza missing. So I'm not sure how that plays into the game. Really,
Yeah.
pizza eating, but. Pac-Man uses his mouth to gobble up the dots on the screen while running through mazes and trying to avoid 4 different colored ghosts. If he finds a large flashing dot, that's called a power pellet, and that allows him to eat the ghost for bonus points. So that's the whole game. I don't know if you haven't played it. I don't know how else to describe it. That is
Pretty
literally
simple.
it.
Yep.
Yeah, you just run around a screen trying not to get eaten by a ghost. I myself never had a great strategy.
Me neither. I would just push the controller back and forth, and that was it. And
Me too, yeah.
No
No.
real logic.
Not even a little bit. And I remember the Godfather's one, you could play one player or two player.
Yeah.
You could both be on
Yes.
this, like someone could sit on the other side and you could put a quarter in two and they could both play. And that is honestly my like main memory of like video games. That was
Me
you know,
too. Yeah. Yeah, my younger brothers ended up getting a Nintendo later, but I just wasn't really into it. Maybe
Yeah.
because I'm a lady. I don't know.
It was war and sports.
and there was no
themed.
cheese.
Yeah. If I'm going to be a lady, I need a ghost.
And I need a Pac-Man with a bow on her head.
She came out 2 years later.
Okay.
And it's also, I guess I don't know why I think this is funny, but I kind of do. It's called Ms. Pac-Man. It's not Mrs.
Yeah, I like
but
that.
it still has the same name as Pac-Man. So I was confused. Like we
Yeah.
went Ms. Pac-Man. So then that made me think it was more of a breed as opposed to like a name.
And also because she's an independent lady that
Yeah.
doesn't need a Miss or
well,
Mrs.
that's why I wanted her to have a different name.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and not just Ms. Pac-Man. I wanted her to be like Miss Pizza Missing.
On the cartoon, her name was Pepper. On the Pac-Man cartoon that came out in like 83 or 84
I
or
didn't
something like
realize
that.
there was a Pac-Man
Yeah.
cartoon that came out.
Uh-huh. Yep.
It's Pepper.
Yep.
Pepper
So-
Pac-Man or just Pepper?
I don't know. God damn it.
Maybe I didn't even know there was a cartoon.
But his name was still Pac-Man on the cartoon. Like, yeah.
Oh.
So they spoke out of their
Yeah.
chompy mouths? Okay.
Yep.
That's good to know.
They had legs too. They had
But they
round
had
bodies
legs.
with legs.
Oh.
So now that reminds me, remember that book series that was like Mr. Tickle and Miss Worry and
Oh, yeah.
like they were just shapes that when, you know, they're like this big square little paperback books that are,
No.
and there's a million of them and they're all different colors and they'll be like Miss Sorry.
This
Not
is
describing it
barely
well.
related to what we're talking about, but I have an associate coworker who has used the phrase, "We're going to put out a tickler for that," which is
No.
a reminder.
Oh,
And it's just every time this person has used that phrase, it just makes me want to crawl inside myself and never come back out.
That doesn't even make any sense.
I
Yeah.
don't like that. No,
No.
please don't.
Yeah.
Especially in this day and age, ticklers,
No.
that feels like a word that we should be moving away from.
Especially like people you don't know. You're going to go tickle people? No.
Right, yeah.
Does anyone like being tickled? I mean,
No.
I don't want your... No.
No, because it reminds me of my creepy Uncle Steve. I don't want that. I don't want with his weird foot fetish and chasing us around the house.
Did we ever decide on like a little song we could play when we hear a really bad memory from Amy's childhood? Because I feel like now's the time to put it in. It's just like, what? I don't want it to be wah wah because that sounds a little too game showy, but like, ding ding. Like, just like, hey, this is a real story.
Tickling's not great.
Can it be the song, the music they played on Full House when like it was a learning moment?
Yes.
Right,
That's
like,
perfect.
We like the learning moment.
Right,
Yeah.
I like
When
that
they're
too.
explaining to DJ why what she did was shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Yeah, we'll use that.
If you have a creepy Uncle Steve, then you need this learning moment.
Even if his name's not Steve.
Yeah. Insert the name that's appropriate to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Whew.
Anyway.
Okay.
Pac-Man.
How about you?
Well, surprise, surprise.
Oh, Xanadu.
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 It's a movie starring Olivia Newton-John, and it came out in August of 1980. And it's funny because you also mentioned Can't Stop the Music, because those two movies are the two that inspired the creation of the Golden Raspberry Awards, which function as a
really?
counterpart to the Academy Awards and honor the worst films of the year.
Wow.
Oh.
Well, that's something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get the credit they deserve.
Yeah.
In addition to Olivia Newton-John, Xanadu features Gene Kelly in his final film role, and now I wonder if he died from embarrassment. But the internet says he stuck around until 1996, so...
Oh,
that's
so he had
probably not-
16 years of shame
Yes,
to live
yes,
with.
he had
Okay.
to stay inside out of the public view for 16 years.
Bummer.
The movie was a pretty big turd. The soundtrack was a big hit. It featured the song Magic by Olivia Newton-John and the title track that Amy was singing. The title track went to #1 in the United Kingdom and may have been the song playing when one or more of the Spice Girls were conceived. That is unconfirmed. I'm just throwing it out there.
I think
it could be.
yeah, probably, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I say we put that down as fact.
Yes. So I'm going to do my best to summarize the plot of this film, but I want you all to be warned. It is weird as hell.
Yep.
Okay, I'm ready.
Plot is a loose term.
Sonny Malone is a struggling freelance artist in Los Angeles. After he completes a sketch that he doesn't like, he tears it up and throws it into the wind because I guess littering is okay for him.
Yeah.
Right.
His trash drifts towards a mural of 9 sisters, and they suddenly come alive, and 8 of them fly across Earth, while the 9th sister roller skates through town and kisses Sonny.
Wait, what?
Oh, that's right. You've never seen this. Yes.
So all of them get to come alive. 8 are like, we're out. And one's like, nah.
I'm going to roller skate around.
That's
I'm
what it
gonna
does.
roller skate through Los Angeles. So Sonny goes back to his day job, which is painting album cover reproductions at a record company, which is like the most 1980 job I think I've ever heard. And he's assigned to paint a reproduction of a group called the 9 Sisters, the same women he'd seen earlier.
Oh, he saw them come alive and leave?
Yeah.
Oh, dude. He's okay.
Yeah. The photographer tells him that one of the women wasn't present for the photo shoot, but magically appeared in all the photos, and she's the same woman who made out with Sonny on roller skates.
You always remember the ones on roller skates that you make out
It's
with.
interesting that it made one magic when obviously they're all magic because 8 of them left.
And it's also weird, too, because I want to... What's the height thing going on here? Because when you put roller skates on, you're adding a good 3 inches.
Yep.
Good point.
Yeah.
And I know in 1980 there was not a world where they would let a tall woman kiss a regular height man.
You're right.
That would be unheard of.
Also, this feels unwieldy from the start. Why would you go with 9? Why don't you just
Right.
have a
Why
smaller
not
number?
3?
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
let's
just
go
3?
with 3.
Yep.
Yeah, 2 of them fly
Nine's
away,
just-
and
yeah.
9 is a lot.
It's a big album cover.
So Sonny finds this woman who introduces herself as Kira, and she encourages Sonny to open a nightclub called Xanadu with former big band clarinet player Danny McGuire.
Yep.
Solid business plan. If I was going to open a club, it'd definitely be with a former clarinet player.
Yeah, you need
'Cause
that
they know
clarinet.
how to
You need that
party.
hot clarinet.
You need that hot read action.
But as luck would have it, the night before the club opens, Kira confesses that she is one of the 9 muses of Olympus, that Zeus is her dad, and that she's got to get the hell out of town. She's got to leave.
You gotta go.
Yep. So Sonny does the only logical thing and follows Kira to Olympus by roller skating into the mural that he had thrown trash at earlier.
I forgot a lot of
I
this.
want
This is
all of the
fantastic.
drugs that these people were on.
He shows up and asks Zeus to send Kira back to Earth with him. Her and her sisters return to Earth and perform at the opening night of Xanadu, but then they go back to Olympus, leaving Sonny heartbroken. So he orders a drink, and the waitress looks like Kara, and all of a sudden his heart is no longer broken, because apparently he just liked the way she looked. It wasn't about...
Oh, you look like my ex? Awesome. Let's do it.
And here's something, to finish, here's something really random. Kenny Ortega, who directed High School Musical, he was one of the choreographers on this movie.
Oh, wow. And choreography was roller skating. It was roller skating choreography.
I mean, if you don't want to watch the whole film, I encourage you to go to YouTube and just Google the Xanadu music video.
That
because it kind
is
of
enough.
It really kind of encapsulates how fucking weird
Yeah.
this movie is.
Like the final, that's the final number in the show,
Yeah.
right? And like they're in the roller rink, and suddenly there's costume changes and key changes, and like it's weird.
I didn't point out, but I should be pointing out that Xanadu is a roller skating nightclub. It is not just a regular nightclub. They roller skate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
With the clarinet player.
Business plan. Now I got problems because the liability insurance in that is high.
Well, remember it's 1980. No one cares.
Alcohol and roller skates, get it.
Yeah. As long
What
as you
could go
got that
wrong?
reed action going, then
The hot clarinet action. Can you imagine inviting someone out and being like, let's go to a club? And they're like, first of all, they agree to that. And then you're like, oh, by the way, get your roller skates polished up because it's a roller skating nightclub. And imagine having any friends after that. They just be like, I'll never
and then
answer
also
texts.
saying, and by the way, I hope you like clarinet because that's all they play.
That's all they play is a guy doing the clarinet version of all songs from the 80s. Just do in the corner.
And then there's a random girl just singing in the middle of it.
who thinks that her dad is Zeus. So just don't
Yep.
argue with her. We just all pretend it's real.
Just back away slowly.
Yeah,
Just skate away slowly.
She painted a picture of herself on the side of a building. It's fine.
That said, every once in a while, out of nowhere, I'll get Xanadu.
That's the only word we remember from the song.
Yeah, never even heard. I have no recollection of that song whatsoever.
They tried to make it into a Broadway musical a few years ago. I mean, it was made into one, and it was not successful.
Well, yeah. I mean, they had to have the liability roller skating stuff, so maybe that's what it was.
Imagine, yeah, an actor just roller skating right off the goddamn stage, falling into the orchestra pit.
Yeah. You mentioned it inspired the Golden Raspberry, so was this popular at all? Like, did it have like a cult following, or it was
I think it kind of has developed one over the years. At the time, everybody was just like, huh?
Okay.
Like, they were expecting, like, more Olivia Newton-John, like, in Grease, and that's not what they got.
And not, yeah. Okay.
But I mean, it was everywhere for like it was on HBO a lot. It was on the cable channels a lot, and we saw it a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe parents just thought like, well, parents didn't think much in the 80s, but they also thought like, it's Olivia Newton-John. How bad could it be?
Yep.
Wow.
Gene Kelly.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a shocker.
Which that was another super weird scene when they start dancing, like her and Gene Kelly, and even as a kid, I remember realizing like, this isn't a good move for him. Like, I think I know this guy is famous, and like this has been a step move. Down. Like, this feels like
bad.
The last step.
Okay.
Towards death. Yeah.
Wow.
Whew. Good movie.
Excellent.
So I'm gonna take us in a very different direction.
Okay.
So we know about the space race during the Cold War. We know, like, Russia and the U.S. were fighting to be the first people in space, and then the first on the moon. But I didn't know about another competition to dig the deepest hole, which was all through the 1980s.
What? Through the 1980s?
Yep. In Russia, in the Kola Peninsula in the Arctic Circle, there's a closed-down Soviet scientific research station, and it's the Kola Super Deep Borehole.
Nope.
Why would they call it the Cola Hola? Like, it's right there.
This borehole is the deepest man-made hole on Earth and the deepest artificial point on Earth. It's over 40,000 feet deep, which is almost 8 miles down.
What?
Wow, get it.
It took 20 years to drill down that far, but it was only 1/3 of the way through the Earth's crust when they stopped.
Wait a minute. It took 20 years.
20 years.
Like constant? Like we're 8 to 5, 40 hours a week just digging.
Just digging.
Wow.
Was it one guy? I hope they switched guys up. That guy went nuts. He's at the bottom of that hole.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And I needed a refresher. I didn't remember where the crust and all the stuff. So the crust is like the thin skin of the Earth, and then there's the mantle, and then there's the core. So they were only 1/3 of the way through the thin crust.
Oh, so was their plan to get to the core?
Yeah.
And they said 20 years in?
No.
I gave it 20 years and then gave the fuck up.
Yeah. If the Earth is like an onion, the thin skin is like the crust. So they barely got through that.
20 years before they aborted mission.
And my question was, why was this a thing? And basically it was because they could. And it started... The U.S. started it, actually. In the 1950s, there was a drinking club of U.S. scientists who won, and it was called the American Miscellaneous Society.
Oh.
And one day they were like, what if we just drilled through the Earth? Maybe to find China? I don't know. They wanted to drill through the crust to the mantle, but they decided... These U.S. scientists, they decided they were going to do it through a shortcut through the Pacific Ocean floor off Guadalupe in Mexico. So it was super deep, hard to get to. Plus, we really hadn't developed deep sea drilling tech at that point. So they didn't get very far before costs were out of control. And Congress was like, what the fuck is this? No, let's just focus on space. Space is pretty.
Yeah.
Digging a hole is not. But the Soviets were like, nah, we got this.
They don't want it. We're doing it.
We're doing it. So they started in the 70s, and they drilled for 20 years. And they found some stuff. Like, they found a microscopic fossil from marine organisms from 2 billion years ago.
Oh.
Which also felt like microscopic. So you could just say you made that up.
Yeah.
Like, you could just say you found that.
1,000% they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we had that meeting, and we have to explain why we've been digging this hole. So what? Spitball. I'll take anything. No bad ideas. No bad ideas. And he's like, what about
microscopic fossils?
Yeah, they can't see it. We're obviously not going to take it to the meeting because it's 2 billion years old. Done.
So they progressed quickly for a while, but about 4 miles down, and ultimately they got 8 miles down.
So about 10 years in.
Yep, it got harder and harder. Drill bits were breaking left and right. Things were heating up. They finally drilled down to where the temperature was 356 degrees, which is twice what they thought it would be at the level that they were at. So by that point, though, the Soviet Union had collapsed. There was no more money, so they just shut it down. And
Did the
closed
people?
off
I was
the
going to say, did the people in the hole know it collapsed?
hole. They're like, "See you guys.
Yeah.
You're just gonna. That's where you're gonna live now."
Also, so not only did your only mission was digging down, but you're bad at calculations.
Yeah.
You were off
Yep.
by a lot on
Off
the
by a
temperature.
lot. Yeah. So they finally stopped in 1992. Like I said, after the Soviet Union collapsed, and they were like, "Well, we lost this war, so we don't need to dig any further."
Did they fill the hole back in?
No, they just topped it over with like a big manhole.
Oh.
But then,
What
like,
did they do with all the dirt?
that's an excellent question. They did public sculptures and art. I don't know.
Oh, I thought you were serious for a second. I was like, what?
This is our dirt art park.
I mean, this is crazy enough that I was on board.
But apparently this inspired some people because a team in Japan,
God.
Oh, no.
yeah, a team in Japan drilled the biggest ocean hole in 2021.
Why are we digging in the ocean?
And I don't know. That also seems just complicated. Like you're gonna, yeah.
It's just filling in with water
Yep.
every time you dig. You're
Right,
not
yeah.
making any ground.
Meanwhile, so this hole in this shut off like research station has just been there for 30 years, and locals around this area, they say that they can hear voices, and they say it's the door to hell.
I would too if I lived around there.
Yeah. So
That's saying something when you live in Russia. I mean, it's
Right.
pretty bad over there.
yeah, and this is in the Arctic Circle, so this is real bad,
Yeah.
I can't believe this hasn't come up.
right?
Like at any point of just
No.
like
This is the-
what does Russia have in that hole? Like, doesn't that seem like something Fox News would run with immediately?
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah. It
Although
feels
they're
like-
kind of pro Russia, so I don't know.
That's true. They're
Yeah.
pro Russia right now.
Yeah.
It'll change, and then they're going to go deep into the Kola super deep bore hole.
Also known as the Kola Hola.
Yep.
Because he's better at naming things than the Soviet Union.
Yeah, the Kola Hola is what we shall now know. Now we know where hell is. It's there.
Good to know.
And it took a long, long time to. It also feels like after about like a couple years, and you only got like a little bit down, you'd be like, okay, maybe this isn't worth it. And also, what are we expecting to find down here?
We found one microscopic
We
fossil
found one
so
fossil.
far. But
We did
let's
it.
keep going.
Let's keep
We
going.
did it, guys.
Yep.
Because at 356 degrees, I'm sure that there's a lot of life form that survived.
Yeah. So 1980 came around. They're like, nope, let's keep going. Let's do it. This is going to be the decade, you guys.
This is gonna
We're
be
going
the
to
year.
dig this hole.
Wow. I had no idea about that. Never even heard of it.
Me neither.
That's wild. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad you went off in a different direction, because as am I.
Okay, great.
I don't know if you know or have heard of the 1980 Pennsylvania lottery scandal, but this is a humdinger of a true crime situation.
I love a humdinger.
As we all know, I fancy myself an amateur sleuth. And let me just say that there...
Please never call yourself that again.
You're a professional sleuth.
Thank you. Okay. All right.
You're good enough. You should be getting paid.
You're right. I should be.
Amateur sleuth just makes me think you're in like message boards at night, just like, you guys, I got this.
Reddit boards about famous crimes, and I'm just posting nonstop. No. But I will tell you, as a newly anointed professional sleuth,
Yeah.
there were lots of times in this thing that I said, abort mission. What are you doing?
Wow.
Okay, so this is, it was dubbed the 666 fix.
Nope, I don't like
Oh,
it.
Okay.
Mark of the Beast.
Yeah.
They came from the Superhole.
From the Superhole. So it was centered around the daily number, which is a 3-number Pennsylvania lottery game. Nick Perry was the lottery announcer at the time, and he had just a crackpot idea.
Oh.
He said, I'm going to switch out those ping pong balls in each of the machines for weighted versions, but leave numbers 4 and 6 lighter. So the 3-digit combo would have to be a set of those numbers combined.
So he's looking to make some money off
Yeah.
this. Okay.
Yep. So he thought, this is great. So here is the first spot where it went off the rails. This
Okay.
is right out of the gate. You had this idea, and what you immediately did was told someone else.
Oh,
Fucking stupid.
buddy.
Too many people involved right out of the gate because he told his 2 business partners in a vending machine business, because apparently being a lottery announcer doesn't pay the bills. Jack and Peter Maragos. He said, hey guys, got this idea. We're going to do weighted ping pong balls except for the 4 and the 6. Great. But then you got a couple other problems, right? So now we're involving more people, because then he talks to Joseph Bach, who is the lettering expert for the station. I don't know what
Lettering
that means.
expert?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't like. What was this guy's future? Like, no wonder he agreed to a con, because where's this going?
Yeah.
I mean, at some point they're going to learn how to print these on balls without me, I would think.
Nope, it needs to be handwritten.
Every day he's coming in just being like, today's the day I get replaced.
Yeah, exactly.
So he was tasked with the idea of weighting getting the weighted ping pong balls and putting the numbers on them. Okay. Then he brought in Edward Plevel, who was a lottery official for the station. So he's supposed to be making sure everything goes right, to give Perry, the host, access to the room where the balls and machine were kept. So there were 2 keys to that room. He gave one to Perry so that he could switch stuff out.
So by this point, he's brought almost
We're
everyone
at 2
in.
brothers, Joseph Bach, Edward Plevel. Then he goes ahead and says, hey, Fred Lumen, you stagehand man, I need you to switch the weighted balls once before the drawing and once after the drawing. Like, you need to take them out and put regular balls back in so that if they test them or anything, the weighted balls are gone. Okay. Enter Bach, the lettering expert again, who, after the drawing, took the weighted balls back to his office and did the only logical thing, which was burn them in a paint can for half an hour after the drawing.
What?
Inside.
In your office. So, like,
Wait, so he was trying to get rid of them, and he burns them in a paint can
in his office for half an hour. So
okay.
at any point when there's suspicion raised and someone's like, did you see anything weird that day? I mean, Bach
I
was
saw
in his
smoke
office
coming from this office.
burning a paint can in his
Yeah.
office, which seems like there's no fire alarms. There's no, like, what are we doing? So,
Okay.
right. So if that's not all enough, you now have 6 people involved. We're burning things in paint cans. This is not a good plan. It goes off the rails again, because the day of the drawing, the 2 vending machine business partners, the Maragos brothers, drove all around Pennsylvania buying up large quantities of tickets with the
Dude.
possible number combos. They were just on a joyride through Pennsylvania, stopping everywhere buying tickets. So they got really excited in one particular bar, which I guess you used to be able to buy, or maybe you still can in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, okay.
They laid down a ton of cash. So not only are they buying lottery tickets, I mean, they're buying it in large quantities of cash. This is how much. So nothing suspicious about
You're
that.
going to be remembered, you dumb
Yes.
shits.
Yeah, exactly. So they laid down a ton, and at some point, one of them was on the payphone speaking in a foreign language and held up the receiver so the person on the other line could hear the lottery tickets printing at the bar. So the bartender was like, this is weird. Like, this is so much cash now. He's calling someone speaking a foreign language and having them listen to me print. Like, just red flag after red flag. So, of course, this sticks in the person's mind. Another way it also went off the rails is these brothers went ahead and told all their family and friends to buy tickets in these combos. So you had mass amounts of people buying them in these combos. Not only that, they also put illegal bets with bookies on these numbers, because that's a thing sometimes bookies bet on, is like the lottery numbers, and you can bet the same numbers you're doing there, and, you know. So went ahead and entered an illegal gambling ring and put money on those exact same numbers that they were drawing from.
So they were so convinced this was going to work that they're like, let's just flaunt this everywhere.
Didn't cover a step of their tracks, because obviously after it came out, it was investigated, like, this is weird, these numbers, all of this stuff. They traced the call from the bar to the station and to the host, Nick, where it was confirmed that the Spark partners spoke in Greek to each other. They both knew Greek, so they would speak to each other in Greek sometimes, and people are like, oh yeah, they did that with his business partners. So congratulations. Even if you're speaking Greek, if people are noticing on the day of. Almost all of the players avoided jail time by agreeing to plead guilty to lesser charges. And the brothers of the vending machine business received severely reduced sentences because they flipped on Nick Perry immediately. Sold him out immediately. He was sentenced to 7 years in prison, served 2, and then spent 1 in a halfway house before he got out, and then basically did nothing because no one would hire him.
So how did they figure out that it had been messed with?
Because there was too many tickets bought with those combinations of numbers.
So they fucked themselves.
They fucked themselves royally.
But I don't know why would they... Like, why wouldn't they just buy one, figured out all the combinations of the numbers, and just buy one of each?
Exactly.
Because it seems...
Because it diluted the pot, basically.
Yeah, if several people have those tickets, then you're going to have to split up the prize money, right? So, yeah, I don't know why.
And that's exactly what tipped them off, because so many people had it, and they're like, we have to divide. And then somebody was like, this is weird. Like, why would we have to divide? There's no way this many people came up with this number combination.
Yeah.
Like, statistically speaking, they probably have stats on that, like how many, and they were like, this is something's off.
Where is the movie on this? This could
I
be
know.
a compelling
I think
movie.
they made a movie out of it.
Did they really?
I think it's got John Travolta and Lisa Kudrow in it. It's called Lucky Numbers. It may not be...
Oh.
I think it's based on this.
Okay.
I don't know that it's the exact same thing, but it's in the movie. It is. Someone tries to fix the like a drawing like this, a lottery drawing.
And I mean, I love it because we had our own Iowa lottery scandal where the guy fixed it, and he in the same position, like he worked with the lottery.
When was that?
And said, oh gosh, that wasn't that long ago.
Like maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah,
Really?
and he's in jail. I think he's out now on probation or parole or something. But
So the lottery guy here did the same kind of thing.
yeah.
Fixed it.
But there was a winning ticket was sold, but he waited until, like, you have a year to claim your prize, and he waited until the last day you could claim it, and went in and did it. And again, it seems like, I get not doing it right away,
Yeah.
but it seems like waiting to
That's
the exact
suspicious,
last minute
too.
to
But
do
he
it.
had to
sort of,
involve someone else, a third party, because him and his family, that's a lottery rule. If you work for the lottery, you can't play, you or your family members can't play the lottery.
So scamming the lottery is a problem in and of itself because you have to involve other people.
Yes.
So you're fucked. Okay.
Yeah. Although Nick, because I'm assuming the rules were maybe they weren't at that time, but I'm assuming that's why, is because they had to get all these other people.
Yeah.
But the brothers could have, because they weren't related. They could have played, but yeah, wild.
I always love hearing about crime by dum-dums.
I know. The more I read, every time I read, I was like, what are you doing? I mean, I know that's like the thing you always think you could like commit the perfect murder, like, leave your cell phone at home, dum-dums, but...
So hang on. So you think you can commit the perfect
No,
murder?
I do not.
Okay,
My husband
okay.
does.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mike thinks he could commit the perfect murder.
Every time we watch a Dateline or anything, he's like, this is where they went wrong. And I get that gut instinct is like, yeah, I got this. And I'm like, you're vastly underestimating the emotional part of
Absolutely.
a murder.
And just the panic
The
afterwards.
panic you miss one detail type of thing.
Unless we don't know something about Mike. And
Yeah,
he
I mean,
is-
if he's a Dexter motherfucker, maybe he is. I don't know. But every time. Yeah. Anyway, they didn't think it through. He
Okay.
brought in way too many people.
Yep.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
So if we get involved in a criminal enterprise and we three are the partners in this criminal enterprise, can we promise that we won't flip on each other?
Yeah.
Done.
Okay.
I got no problem not flipping on someone, just so you know.
All right. Well, I got
Snitches
some
get
ideas for us
stitches.
after we off air.
I told you I was ride or die. Give me your best, detective.
And we made Heath sign a $1 billion contract, and I think it involved criminal enterprises.
Yeah, that was a fine
required
print
help.
thing, which I was really glad he didn't read.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. So too bad, Heath. You're
All right, well.
involved.
I'll be using my one phone call to call you guys the ladies' prison. We can chat. You know it's not a crime?
What?
The movie Airplane.
It's really not.
It's
No.
not.
No, it came out in July 1980, and it's not only a comedy parodying.
Uh-huh.
Did I say
Yep,
it right?
yep,
Did I
you
get
got
out?
it.
All right.
You did it.
The disaster film genre that was popular at the time, but it's also Leslie Nielsen's greatest contribution to American cinema.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
What a great movie.
The plot of the film centers on Ted Stryker. He's a former fighter pilot. And
Great name, by the
currently
way.
traumatized war veteran and taxi driver. As a result of some PTSD from his time in Vietnam, Ted has developed a drinking problem and can't hold a job. On paper, that doesn't sound all that funny, but in the movie, his drinking problem is that when he tries to drink anything, he gets it everywhere but in his mouth.
Yep. It's a problem. It's a problem.
It's a problem.
Yep.
That is a problem.
Yeah.
Ted's girlfriend, Elaine, is a flight attendant and dumps him right before she leaves to work a flight from Los Angeles to Chicago. Ted abandons his taxi at the airport that someone actually gets into and sits there for the duration of the movie. Like they keep kind of going back, and there's just someone sitting in the backseat of his taxi. And he buys a ticket on the flight so he can win her back, which is kind of taking that whole showing up at your girlfriend's job thing, kind of like it's
That's
really
a little,
it's taking it to
then you're
a
stuck
extreme.
there, man.
Yeah, I
that's
wonder. We
no-
should find out what year that turned from like romantic gesture into oh no, this dude's a creep.
Yep, this is creep territory.
Once the in-flight meal is served, almost all the passengers and flight crew get sick. Elaine radios ahead to Chicago to see what to do, and they tell her to engage the autopilot. She does, and it turns out the autopilot is an inflatable named Otto, who can get them to Chicago, but can't land the plane. Ted, who has experience flying but is now terrified to do it, is convinced to take over. Ted successfully lands the plane, injuring only a few of the passengers, which doesn't sound like that much of a success to me.
No.
As someone who does not love flying, like
Yeah, true.
I arrive at my destination and just a few of the other people are hurt.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Thumbs down.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
doing
no
this again.
stars.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that this movie had won or been nominated for many awards, but it did.
What?
Yeah. The Writers Guild of America named it the Best Adapted Comedy of the Year.
Really?
And it was nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy.
Okay.
Wow.
The film's also been named on several lists of the greatest films of all time and was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being
it is.
culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant.
It is good.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you. Yeah.
I loved it as a kid, especially.
Several scenes in the film are still quite funny to me today. Not all of them have aged that well.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of my favorites that is a good example of maybe something that hasn't aged all that well is when Barbara Billingsley, who played the mom on Leave It to Beaver, stepped in to translate when a flight attendant was having trouble communicating with the passenger and explained that she spoke jive.
Yep. And then that exchange is, that's not great.
Nope.
That's not gonna. Yeah.
Another one is when a passenger is getting hysterical during turbulence, and a flight attendant kind of shakes her to try to calm her down, and then that doesn't work. So then you see a line of passengers forms, each with increasingly aggressive tools to try and pound this woman into being calm. Lloyd Bridges, is air traffic controller in Chicago, comments several times throughout the film that he picked the wrong week to quit some vice that he has. He says he picked the wrong week to quit smoking, the wrong week to quit drinking, the wrong week to quit amphetamines, and finally the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Yeah.
It's always the wrong week for that.
It is.
Again, when a young male passenger visits the captain in the cockpit, the captain asks, "Do you like movies about gladiators?" Because at that point, jokes about pedophiles were still on the table.
Yep. You ever seen a grown man naked? Yeah.
During a flashback scene that shows Ted and Elaine in the Peace Corps, you see Elaine hosting a Supperware, a.k.a. Tupperware, party for a group of women who live in a small village in the middle of the jungle. And she says, Supperware will help you better prepare storing foods for the upcoming monsoon months. Supperware products are ideal for storing leftovers to help stretch your food dollar. This 2-quart Seals 'em Right container keeps hot dog buns fresh for days.
For days.
So if all the dumb stuff that I think is funny bugs you, you can kind of blame that on Airplane, because that's sort of...
It really is.
It was so good, though.
Just the very, of course I'm serious and don't call me Shirley.
Right.
That
Don't call
whole
me
thing.
Shirley. Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah.
I like that. I remember, I forget the character's name, but he was in all the scenes with in Chicago. The kind of feminine guy who was sort of fucking with Lloyd Bridges the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you make of this? Oh, I can make a hat. I can make a pterodactyl. I can make a
I could make it into a brooch.
Oh, that was a good one.
Good job. Good job. And I'm glad that you brought up Xanadu. You did it justice.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
you did. You did the work. So, question, got to check in at the end. You said, was it good to be back? And you said it was TBD. And then see how this hour went. So, results?
Affirmative.
Okay.
It's good to be back.
That's all we can hope for.
Yeah.
That's all we can hope for. Yeah.
I'm sure it's not because we're just staring at him,
I mean, it might have been that we forced him into a criminal enterprise.
Yeah, that's
so,
true.
you know,
Yeah. But,
I mean, I don't know if he knew he was already complicit.
Isn't this? Are we breaking the law already?
Yes. Always. I mean,
Yeah, no, yeah, it's probably some law for
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
I mean, we're women, so
yeah, we're just automatically, I
that's-
think, at this
yeah.
point, right?
Yeah.
Right. I
We're
spoke
women,
I
you're
spoke
gay,
ill
it's
of Pete
bad.
Hegseth at the beginning, so that's probably, not allowed now,
Yeah.
tomorrow. I don't know.
Anyway,
On that note.
well, that's been fun. Fun was had.
Simpler time, 1980.
We could just dig a hole.
And that could be your whole life's mission.
Yep.
Fuzzy Memories is a Broads and Books production. It's hosted by Heath Smith, Aaron Johnston, and Amy Lee Lillard. Follow us at Fuzzy Memories Pod on Instagram for clips and highlights. And follow us at Broads and Books Productions for updates on new shows coming your way. See you next time.
I just I just saw the other day when you mentioned Nick Lachey, it reminded me of this, that apparently Jessica Simpson is doing commercials again for Chicken of the Sea because of that whole thing where she didn't know if it was tuna or chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay.
and like her daughter's in it, and her daughter's sort of like playing the straight man, and Jessica's like, you know, again, kind of leaning into being a ding dong. And I don't know. I just watched it. I'm like, I get it, but does most people get it?
I feel like no.
that's-
That's been so long ago.
Right,
Yeah.
And I feel like, I mean, didn't they do this once already? Didn't she? Wasn't she a spokesman for Chicken of the Sea at one point already?
Yeah, I think she was. I want to say, was Nick in that commercial with her?
I think so.
I think because he kind of played that part, I
Yeah.
thought. Also, didn't she try really hard to pivot out of being that person? Like, I'm not that. You know.
I think so. I mean, she had
Yeah.
like shoes. She had a shoe line.
She did,
I think she
yeah.
had other clothes and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe she needs that Chicken of the Sea money.
Yeah, she needs a check.
She needs that hot tuna dollars. Ooh, I didn't like that.
It occurred to me at the same time. And then you said it, and I was like, I'm so glad I did.
That's a line item on her tax return.
Hot
Tuna money.
dollars.